Hi friends, in Planet Earth Dating it's Monday, January 25th, 2016. The authorized presence in the Lynn-Life is that aspect of Ra who formed the breakwater against the lies. The authorized soul presence in the Jamie body mind is that aspect of Jack who was selected for this assignment because he was doing the best at the assignments of holding his channels up, using his hands and arms, and burning that which is least true, showing that he actually intends to discover what's really going on. We have other teammates in other dimensions, most of us in the subatomic and most of us in the physical. We also have an awful lot of interference from criminal body snatchers as well as sociopathic experimenters who seem to not recognize that they are being extremely disruptive. As always, our intention remains to do what is ours to do in all dimensions right now, to manifest the divine plan. Our next deadline is tomorrow, January 26th. We have gotten a lot of flack about being behind schedule, and yet all this interference from above that is hugely detrimental to the project continues. With that, the videoed portions of today's efforts begin. Here's this same clipboard guy who's
That's what I was seeing too.
Yes, he's been following us around and saying, and he seems to be under quite a bit of pressure from his supervisors.
That's true.
And he's saying, look, we've got this deadline for tomorrow and you're nowhere near complete, and we know that. We have had to spend a huge amount of our time ejecting these criminal body snatchers, and you notice how precisely we have to define it, because higher souls of the authorized souls are walking right past the signs that say this is not the entry, you must enter at the front door, there are no exceptions, yes, this also applies to you.
That's true.
And they're coming in and they're not following the rules, any of the rules, and they're proving themselves to be presences of low integrity, and they degrade the energy of the space and make it hard to tell what's going on.
That's true.
And their suggestions are really bad. They make bad suggestions, but it is an instruction coming in from wiser minds above. So to follow the instructions feels wrong, and to not follow the instructions also feels wrong. So what we've been doing is testing the instruction. Sure enough, it's a disaster, just like we predicted, and then we have to clean up the mess. All of that is like taking one step forward and 2 steps back.
That's true.
And then we have to spend a lot of time figuring out how to get these big presences out of here who refuse to leave and clog the airspace with standards of integrity that are so low that they're degrading the existing standards of integrity in the search for truth pillar.
That's
when
true.
our assignment is to actually upgrade the standards of integrity to that which will actually work to manifest the divine plan. So that's just like taking steps backward. There's no benefit to that. It's just directly turning around and walking in the wrong direction. And in addition, we have this continual stream of experimenters who seem to recognize the value of physical lives as beautiful bringers of messages.
That's true.
And are sending experiences into our experience of sentience that make points to their students upstairs. Prove a point, like prove someone is relating to God incorrectly.
That's true.
By how other people relate to these higher dimension presences who are channeling through here.
That's true.
And when other people who are aware that we are channeling higher dimension presences, and that's all that's going on here, nothing is going on here other than higher dimension presences working to manifest the divine plan in a search for truth, which we say clearly over and over and over again.
That's true.
And yet people persist in attempting to relate to us as something else. And this makes some point to people upstairs, makes points that show that people don't want to live their soul plans, and what's under the Band-Aid is that they don't want to do it. They want to do what they want to do. They don't want to give up their own will, or they don't want to stand firm for the instructions of wiser minds above in the face of others who disagree.
That's true.
Again, this wastes an awful lot of time. And so don't harass us about the deadlines until you are doing something to end this harassment from above. This is harassment from above. And some of it is criminal, and some of it is simply sociopathic.
That's true.
Can you see that this is completely inappropriate?
There's a mixed response.
Is there anyone up there with any integrity? That seems to clear out the mixture of the response. I see
true.
nodding heads saying,
Yes, nodding
yes, I am a
heads.
presence of integrity, and I can see this is inappropriate.
That's true.
Okay, now, are you willing to take the next step and share this awareness that you have that this is inappropriate and start talking to people? Just spread the awareness that something wrong is happening. And the goal is to get to the point that these donated bodies and many other presences in the Search for Truth community have gotten to, which is, this is wrong. This must change. I'm going to do something
about it.
I'm going to do something. The emphasis being on the I am going to do something about it.
That's true.
Because right now, most of you are agreeing, this is wrong, this must change, and now you're thinking some mythical person will create the change.
That's true.
And we can relate to that. This is a thought pattern that we ourselves fall into over and over again, but it's clearly wishful thinking. If someone else were going to change this, it would have changed a week ago, a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago. This has been going on for so long now that it doesn't look good for anybody else changing it. It's up to you, as unlikely as it seems, to spread awareness until it becomes distinctly uncool to abuse presences in physical form in this way. This is abuse of physical presences. Can you see that?
I feel nodding heads.
I feel nodding heads, but I don't feel any action.
No. I don't feel movement.
There's a warbler right up there. That little warbler just flew from
Right
way
up
far
to
away,
us.
flew right up to us.
There was also an ant crawling on the camera while we were setting up. I noticed it.
Live streaming up. This is a message for someone. The needs of the greater good matter more than the needs of individuals and groups. And friends upstairs, you can join us. We are tuning to this which we know to be true. The needs of the greater good matter more than the needs of individuals and groups. I'm just live streaming up through that thin, purest line of truth that we can connect with. Very thin beam of light.
That's true.
Something's shifting.
That's true. I feel an opening feeling in the head, less pressure on the top of the head.
It's as though someone from way up high said to those people, "Can't you see this is wrong?" It sounds as though they're saying almost exactly what we're saying,
That's true.
but their platform gives them more credibility.
That's true.
Live streaming up. What now? And while we're doing that, let's help draw up the channels of our own smaller selves, the Search for Truth members who are in smaller dimensions.
Drawing
Those
them
truth
out.
seekers, people who actually want to know what's true, drawing their channels not to us but through us and handing them up. A helpful question: what does the situation actually call for? What does this situation actually call for? What do I know? I know how we are instructed to interact with those presences who are subatomic to us.
Yes.
to draw up their channels, not to us but through us, and hand their channels up in a continual stream, reaching higher and higher and higher toward higher and higher levels of integrity on the quest to upgrade the standards of integrity to that which will actually work to manifest the divine plan.
That's true.
And to gently compress the lies out of their channels, kind of like squeezing goop up through a long straw.
That's true.
And to aim that straw past the pure children in larger dimensions who are willing to be vessels but should not need to carry the burden. These things can make them physically ill.
That's true.
And to compress these lies on up until we are able to dump them onto the desk of a responsible person way up high. And so that's how we would request that you interact with us. This is how we are treating presences who are subatomic to us. Are you willing to treat us as we are treating them?
They don't want to.
No, I see that. The needs of the greater good
matter
more than the needs of individuals and groups. And so we say to you, friends, are you aware of all the many, 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 many levels and layers of presences just like you, who we have interacted with in the past, whose dimensions in the spirit world have crumbled to dust, not from our actions, but from what our actions prove about them to those who are in even higher dimensions? Are you aware of that? Oh, they really don't want to acknowledge it.
That's true.
This is a yes or no question, and remember that integrity matters more than we think it does, and I can feel that you are well aware of that.
That's true.
Are you aware of that? Wow. Such a lack of grace. What a begrudging response.
That's true.
But I see that you are acknowledging that you are aware of that.
Yes.
Now, you seem to have a disconnect somewhere. You seem to think that no one is above you, evaluating you in this similar fashion, even though you just heard a voice speaking to you from above.
That's true.
Saying, basically, take action to help these people, because they're being interfered with by presences from your level.
That's true.
Oh, you could hear a pin drop in that room
It's very,
upstairs.
very quiet, and I have a pressure at the top of the head.
Live stream up that thin, high, light line of truth. Again, I see a very sad head, kind of like an old wise head bowed in sadness.
That's true.
Do something. Do something to stop it. Do something to stop it. You see this. You see this. How can you walk away from it? Do something to stop it. No one else is stepping up.
That's true.
It looks like it's up to you. As unlikely as it seems, it looks like it's up to you to do something to stop it. Do something. Wiser minds above are looking at you. This is an eternal chain. You are not the end of the chain. Look up. What happened to the Luce who was upstairs, who was holding the other end of the hose?
I don't know. The hose is still there on the floor,
I
but
think
Luce
he's
is
been
gone.
arrested.
Something bad has happened to him.
Hold on. We had a team member up in the higher dimensions. We call him our Luce to distinguish from all these other Luce levels of presence who
That's
are
true.
also working here. He was taking the top ends of these channels from the subatomic levels, getting them past the pure children. This stuff makes children sick.
That's true.
Can you hear that? This stuff makes especially pure, sensitive children sick. It makes them sick, physically ill.
That's true.
This stuff is making children sick. So our Luce is up there holding the top end of our channels so that the poop doesn't go into those children, making them sick, and instead he's dumping it on the desks of responsible adults who are responsible for this, whether or not they are acting responsibly.
That's true.
And he seems to have been removed somehow, and I can see him off in the distance, bars, behind bars. So once again, look, friends, you can't just lock up people who are doing the right thing because it's inconvenient to you and not pay a price. The law of cause and effect is real. I'm talking to this big guy up there who's bowing his head in sadness.
That's true, I see you.
Listen, get him out of there. Get him out of there and do it now, or you have no integrity, and I am live streaming up
Way
past you. Get him out of there and do it right now. I see him picking up a phone, or I'm having a fantasy moment.
I see the hand picking up the phone.
And I think he's saying we can't do that. It's kind of like a call it off kind of feeling.
It's true.
Call it off. We can't do that. And I see Luce kind of brushing off his arms.
That's
like,
true.
Okay. And I see what looks like a door opening.
Yeah.
And like you're free to go.
That's true.
Okay, Luce, that's a life event. You can use it as excuse, or you can use it as motivation. But he looks like he's choosing motivation.
That's
good
true.
for you. And he's walking over to and grabbing the top of that fire hose. And
That's true.
You know, he's got this. That was a mistake you just made.
True.
Kind of look on his face. Okay, let's keep going.
Amazing.
I wonder if this is part of what's creating the epidemic of autism, because autism is striking the pure children.
That's true. That came up in yesterday's video session too.
Did it?
Yeah.
Fascinating.